In a quiet, ancient village, hidden deep within the forest, where the trees stood still and the nights felt alive, there lived a feared native doctor named Kwame and his only son, Jabari. The villagers lived in peace under Kwame's protection, or so they believed. Kwame served a powerful spirit, dark and ancient, an unforgiving God that nobody dared to question. He was the keeper of ancient ways, a bridge between the living and the unseen. The villagers feared him, respected him, and depended on him. When drought came, they ran to him. When sickness spread, they whispered his name. And under the full moon, his rituals called to forces that demanded more than prayers. But his son, Jabari, began to question. "Why serve spirits that feed on fear?" he asked. Kwame's eyes darkened. "These spirits are not myths. They are power, creation, and destruction. They have protected us for generations." Jabari's voice dropped to a whisper. "At what cost?" Jabari asked. The native doctor tried everything to make his son serve the spirit. He declared, "I will not serve that spirit," he declared. "I will serve God Almighty." Everything changed the night Kwame died. That same night, strange whispers filled the air and shadows began to move. "Take your father's place," the spirit commanded, haunting the boy. But Jabari refused. Days later, by the river, a young man saw something unusual, a beautiful walking stick, glowing and almost alive. He picked it up, and on his way home, an elder stopped him. "Where did you find this walking stick?" the elder asked. Innocently, the young man handed it over. But soon, the elder began using it himself. Then one day, as he struck the stick against the ground, it broke. That was the beginning of his nightmare. The elder returned home, his spirit crushed heavier than his body. The shadows grew bolder, no longer whispering, but speaking his name clearly in the darkness. "You took what was not yours. You broke what was sacred. Now you will pay." That night, tragedy began. One by one, his family members started dying. All perished except his wife. She watched him waste away, her eyes filled with tears she could no longer shed. She had lost her children. Soon she would lose her husband. But on the seventh night, as the elder lay trembling on his mat, she could no longer bear his suffering. The next morning, she journeyed to a neighboring village to seek help from a three-eyed goddess witch doctor. "If your husband wants to be free from that spirit, he must perform a 3-day ritual. After that, he will be completely free," three-eyed goddess witch doctor said. A few days later, the couple brought the required items for the ritual. After 3 days of ceremonies, they returned to their village. That night, the man slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. The next morning, he woke and began reciting incantations, pouring libations as offerings, thanking the three-eyed goddess witch doctor for restoring his peace. But some days later, the nightmare started again, and something unexpected happened. Jabari came to his door. The young man stood in the doorway, not with anger, but with sorrow in his eyes. "I watched you from afar," Jabari said quietly. "I saw your suffering, and though I refused to serve that spirit, my heart could not rest knowing you died in torment." The elder's eyes widened. You will help me?" "I will not serve the spirit," Jabari repeated firmly, "but I will show you the way to freedom." Jabari sat beside the dying elder and narrowed his eyes. "That stick, it was not meant for you. It was not meant for anyone in our village." "Who was it for?" the elder whispered. Jabari stood and walked to the doorway, looking toward the forest where his father's hut still stood, now empty and silent. "My father knew about that stick. The spirit kept it hidden at the river, waiting for the right person. It was a test, and you failed it." The elder began to weep. "I did not know." "Ignorance does not break a curse," Jabari said gently, "but truth can." Jabari turned to the elder's wife. "Gather these things, clean water from the river at dawn, white cloth and honey, and bring me to where the stick broke." They led him to the spot where the elder had struck the walking stick against the ground. The pieces still lay scattered, though they had begun to rot unnaturally fast. Jabari knelt and began to pray. Not to the old spirits, not to the three-eyed goddess, but to the God he had chosen to serve. Almighty Creator, you who see all things, you who know the intentions of the heart, this man made a mistake born of ignorance, not malice. He has suffered greatly. If it is your will, release him from this bondage. Let mercy triumph over judgment. He poured the water over the broken pieces of the stick. He wrapped them in white cloth. He drizzled the honey as an offering of sweetness for the bitterness caused. Then he spoke to the shadows that had gathered. In the name of the Most High, I command this spirit, release this man. His debt is paid in suffering. Return to the place from which you came. You have no power here. The wind picked up suddenly. The shadows writhed and screamed a sound that made everyone's blood run cold. You cannot command us. You refuse our power, yet you dare to banish us. Jabari stood firm. I do not need your power. The power I serve is greater. And then he did something unexpected. He picked up the wrapped pieces of the walking stick and walked toward the forest, toward his father's old hut, now empty and silent. Inside Kwame's abandoned hut, Jabari found what he was looking for, the ancient altar where his father had served the dark spirits. He placed the broken walking stick on the altar. I know what you are, Jabari said to the darkness. You are not a god, you are a parasite. You feed on fear, on guilt, on broken promises. My father served you out of duty. The elder stumbled into your trap by ignorance. But I choose a different path, Jabari said. The shadows gathered thick around him. The temperature dropped. Voices screamed in languages older than the village itself. You cannot destroy us. We are eternal. We are the old ways. We are the price of power. You are right, Jabari said. I cannot destroy you, but I can break your hold on this village. He lit a fire, not the ritual fire his father would have used, but a simple flame. And I can choose light over darkness. As the fire grew, Jabari prayed aloud, calling on the name of God, speaking words of liberation, of mercy, of grace, words his father had never spoken at this altar. The shadows recoiled, the screaming intensified, and then slowly they began to dissipate. Not destroyed, but banished, pushed back into the corners of the world where they belonged. Peace at last. The next morning, the elder awoke. For the first time in months, the shadows were gone. The whispers had ceased. He felt light. His wife ran to him, tears streaming down her face. It is over. The torment is gone. The elder wept with gratitude. He immediately went to find Jabari. He found the young man by the river, sitting quietly, watching the water flow. You saved me, the elder said, falling to his knees. After I wronged you, after I took what was yours, after I refused to listen, you saved me. Jabari helped him up. I did not save you. Mercy did. Grace did. I was just the vessel. Teach me, the elder begged. Teach me this God you serve, this God of mercy. And so Jabari began to teach him. Word spread through the village. The elder was healed. The curse was broken. Not through the old spirits, not through the three-eyed goddess, but through a power greater than any of them. One by one, villagers came to Jabari, some seeking healing, some seeking truth, some simply curious. Jabari did not force anyone. He did not demand service. He simply shared what he had found. The village began to change. The fear that had gripped them for generations, the fear of spirits, of curses, of unseen forces, began to loosen its hold. They still respected the old ways, they still honored their ancestors, but they no longer lived in terror. As for Jabari, he never became a native doctor like his father. He did not serve spirits or perform dark rituals, but he became something else entirely. A healer, a teacher, a bridge between the old world and the new. He married, he had children, and he taught them that true power does not come from fear, but from love. That real strength is not in controlling spirits, but in serving others. That the greatest magic is mercy.